How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another video of Cube Draft 101 with me, Jamie, with Scrub Games. And today, just a quick go over. So, with this series, covering everything that I can possibly think of or do to help anybody interested in cube drafting, whether it's been building their cube or playing in cube draft. And in one of the last videos, I covered archetypes, but only briefly, like the kind of archetypes you can potentially add, or just information about archetypes you can draft in a cube. And then after that, one video was a brief description to go over all the different archetypes you can potentially add or draft in one. I decided to then go in more detail into each archetype after that for the rest of the videos on archetypes. And currently we're up to Universe 6, the Universe 6 archetype, which is quite a big one and quite a decent one as well. It covers quite a few different colours, giving you either generic support or specific support in each colour. So with Universe 6, there's, starting off with the first one, we have the red cards. Most of them come out in a few sets. First debuted in the Tournament of Power set back really early in the beginning of the game almost. And as you can see, there's quite a few cards to go over. So the first thing we got is the Frost Chain, which is, as you can see, Universe 6 text. This is a very strong one for red. That can be used with the Universe 6 archetype itself. And it's just a generic line on its own. As I said in one of my videos before about the top 10 picks, this is one of the chains that I always like to grab, and one of my favourite ones, because if you can grab all three, you drop the one drop Frost down. You then gain quite a lot of advantage for every time tapping a red to draw one card, so you gain a lot of card advantage. You draw more than your opponent unless they've got a way to draw themselves. And if your opponent ever thinks they've had enough of you trying to draw in constantly every turn and try to remove it, you then don't really lose anything, because you get the benefit of them playing your Chaos Beam Frost straight from your deck or hand. And then Chaos Beam Frost creates a different kind of benefit for you against your opponent, where instead of gaining cards, you start just basically removing their cantrips, because most cantrips are 5k with its activate main, or just lowering the power on some of the battle cards to make it easier to run over. And then if they get fed up with that and try to remove that, you then get to bring out the big 30k full power Frost. So this is one of the things that normally if I'm drafting red, I will focus on trying to get those. If I see any of those pieces, I'll grab them over anything else, because they're very strong. And if you get the whole chain, it's very if you see the one drop Frost and drop it down, it's very problematic for your opponent. So they're the main three things. The first three of the red Unit 6 archetype, that is very strong generic. And the next one we have is Foreseeing Hit. Now this is a very good card, because what is a 4-drop? It's got the standard stats of a 4 cost 20k double striker, like most of the 4 costs in the cube or just in general. But it's got added benefit of main thing is it gives you hand advantage. So as you remember with the cube, you've got with mine anyway, it's a Highlander, so there's only one copy of each card in the cube, and so you at least know that whatever you've drafted from your pool, no one else is going to have. But then there are some cards you might be worried about. And Foreseeing Hit, there's not as many counterplays in this, so while it doesn't have deflect or anything, it's not a problem. It's not many ways. There's not many counters, and there's only one copy of any counter you might worry about. So you've got to think about the matchup, color, and if they might have that one card and the energy open for it. But Foreseeing Hit's very good, and it comes down for a bit of pressure, and you get the one, see your opponent's hand, get a hand in knowledge, see what they're running and what options they have, so you can prepare, or say if you can see if you can kill them that turn, see if there's anything you have to worry the next turn, and also remove 2 things to prevent them from having it. So if you're going for the kill, you can see their hands if they've got any super combos or cards to stop you from battle cards anyway to stop you from killing them, to remove them from until the next turn. After things you might fear next turn, you can remove them so that you don't have to worry about them if they survive to the next turn. It's a very strong card in that way, and being a 4 cost with only 2 generic 2 red energy means it doesn't require too much of a specific color to go in. If you're drafting red, you're only going to have 2 red energy by turn 4 anyway, and it's a very strong card to pick. And then we got the two Keflars, the two big sort of like boss monsters for the red Universe 6 stuff. We have Saiyan Onslaught and Kefla Roar of Destruction. Now both are very strong cards, more of Saiyan Onslaught more than Roar of Destruction. Onslaught could be used as it's more of a finisher, as it requires 5 costs, but it has deflect, so your opponent can't stop it with a counterplay if they do have one. And there's the way to get out cheaper with Union Batar, but you've got to have the Khalifa and KL on it. Whereas they're not too difficult to go on, you still have to have free red energy. So normally you're not going to be going out, you're not going to be hard casting it for its 5, which is still fine to do. It has dual attack, which means it's going to get 2 attacks in, and if there's any way to give it double strike, then you can potentially force through 4 damage potentially, or if they're on your last turn, put 2 strong attacks in to finish it. And it's got a great effect. It's got a great auto, which makes it worth grabbing for red and paying that 5 energy for. As when it attacks, or you activate Union Batar if you do, you get the draw 1 card, so you gain a card. You gain 2 cards because it's got dual attack, and it's not a once per turn on the auto. And then the card itself gains 5k power for the turn. So that means it's not going to be 2 25k swings. It's going to be a 30k swing first, then a 35k swing, and both draw a card each. So you're going to get 2 cards, a 30k swing and a 35k swing for your 5 energy investment, which is very good. Very good when you're trying to finish your opponent as well. And those draws could become super combo or even just combo power to make it even stronger as well. And you might not want to always drop it. You might not be dropping it always to finish your opponent off. You could be dropping it to get rid of one of their big threats. Like if your opponent in turn before dropped a Rubrian Avatar of Affection, the 5-drop is basically a Deadly Defender. That's a 30k base that prevents you, if your opponent's leader is green, from attacking anything by itself. So this is a way to run over if you haven't got any way to remove it. Because if you do remove it, it then replaces itself, but at least you get out of the way, and that's a good way to do so. Now, Kefla Roar of Destruction is less of a big finisher and more of a value play, just because it's only a 5k double strike 20k, so it's 1 cost more than the standard 4 costs that have the same stats and effects. But it's got a way of now it's only got 1 specified red, but that doesn't matter because you're only mainly dropping it. Whereas activate battle main, or activate effect, where you tap, where you're only going to be paying 2, but you need to have at least 4 energy, which isn't too bad because cube draft games go on a bit longer than constructed games. You get to a higher energy, which is more enjoyable. And you always do, you have to return just 2 aliens to your hand to play it, but you can't play battle cards for the rest of the turn, for the duration of the turn if you do drop it. So you've got to have 4 energy, pay 2 of it, have 2 aliens to bounce back to hand, and then after that you can't play battle cards for the turn, for the duration of the turn. Now this is pretty decent in the fact that if you have any aliens that are like cantrips, if you've got some one-drop aliens that basically you play and draw a card, you get to reuse them as well because you bounce back the hand and you got them to play again, the one to get more draws and stuff. Or if you've got things that get their effects when they're played, you can bounce those back to do it again. Like say if you have Bold Super Saiyan Khalifa 2, Bold Super Saiyan 2 Khalifa here, that can get out one of the other 3 next to it with its effect. You then have to set up and then you can reuse it to play the Kefla back again to then try and get another one out. And one that might be not the great, and one that's pretty good, it's not the best, but then its auto is also quite helpful to make it a good defensive play, because when you play the card, you can choose up one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus by 20,000 power for a duration of the turn. So if your opponent's going in with a big swing, or going in for a 20k swing and you want to stop, you can bring this out defensively by its activate battle, because I think it is activate battle and not activate main, and then minus that card down by 20k to get rid of it, or even minus by 20k, so it's not as much of a threat. And then lastly, for the red stuff, we have the rest of the U6. That's like a chain. So we got the main one out of these 4 is the Bold Super Saiyan 2 Khalifa, because it's a 4 cost 20k. which is yeah, standard, but it does have double strike, and it's got a great effect. From when you play it, you get to look at top 7 cards of your deck. So top 7 is quite a bit, and you get to choose one Universe 6 card with one Universe 6 battle card with 15,000 power or less, and play it. Now it doesn't specify color, so all the other colors we've got blue and yellow that the cards go that the Universe 6 Archtype goes into can be brought out by this. It just has to have 15k, so you can even bring out Chaos Beam Frost off it, and then so you got the chain ready, or even Frost before the storm off it as well to start from the chain from scratch. And the 3 next to it are some of the strongest ones to do, because we got Sister Attack Kale. This is one that where you control another Universe 6. When it attacks, you draw a card, and it gains 5k for the battle for the turn. So it becomes 15k and draw 1 every turn, and then every turn it survives, it just basically nets you value if your opponent doesn't get rid of it. And also, it's only got 1 red specified cost, even hard casting it for 2 isn't too bad. You only need 1 red charged. Then you got Kale, Forensic Sister. This is a blocker with a great auto by pulling off of the Khalifa. In that, at the end of the turn, you switch it back to active mode, and it gains 5k until the end of your opponent's next turn. So this means you get a 15k swing, and then at the end of the turn, a 20k blocker. So that's decent. And then we got the last one, Impeccable Super Saiyan Cabo. This is a very strong one, because it's got a permanent of when you attack, you can attack battle cards in active mode with it. So if your opponent's got cantrips or things you want to get rid of that they're just gaining advantage of, you can attack into it. And also your opponent can activate counter skills against this attack. So it means it can attack unimpeded without any worry about negates, and it can attack battle cards to get rid of it. And it's got an added benefit of if your leader's red. If your leader's a red Saiyan, when it attacks a leader, when it attacks, it gains 5k power for the turn as well. So it's a very strong card in the fact that it can attack things in active mode, and your opponent can't use a counter skill against it. They can't negate the attack. And this is really good in the fact that if you use it as a finisher, like say if you're able to give it double strike or something like that, it's a great finisher. Knowing that your opponent can't negate the attack, they have to combo out of it. And if your leader is one of the few red Saiyans we have in the cube, then it becomes a 20k when it attacks as well. And these are really good cards for red, and all support each other pretty well, and you can always go into different color combinations as well. But so if you're going for a Universe 6, or if you're going for red, and you can make a good theme for your deck using these cards if you draft them. And the next color we go over is blue. So blue is more focused on the Kale character, with most of its blue cards, and it's got quite a few good ones as well. So we've got from the so before we go to the 4-drop, you've got the 4 little ones that are very good. So we got Kale to my sister. This is a 1-drop, can be KO'd, so your opponent has to minus it, warp it, or bounce it back to remove it from the field. So it means it can they can't KO it by skills, so they can run over it, but if they want to KO it by skills, they can't. And it's got a nice auto of when you play it, you can grab back a blue or yellow Universe 6 from your drop area. That's 3 cost or more, and add to your hand. So there's quite a few options for it. Of course, blue and yellow. And one great thing is you can grab back the 4-drop here, KL Awakened Sister from it, if you want to, and even you can get things like I think it's the counterplay, Shampoo. There's some multicolored cards as well. It gets quite a few options to grab back for it to make use of. And then we've got KL Universe 6 Protector. So this is a great one in the fact that with it's got a nice auto. When you play this card, you can use it to 1 Cab or Khalifa on your field with energy cost of 2 or less, and return it to the owner's hand. So you can bounce back things like if there's any Cab or Khalifa that's got effect that when it's played, like there's a 1-drop Cabba cantrip, you can bounce it back in the hand, so you then play it again to draw a card. And it's got an activate battle. One of the good things about this card, it's got activate battle once per turn, pay it by paying 1 energy. This card gains 5,000 power and critical variation in the turn. So it's really good offensively in the fact that for 1 energy you can make it a 20k crit when you swing. And defensively, by paying 1 energy, you make it 20k for the turn on defense. So if your opponent's thinking, I can just swing it at my 15ks, you can just pay 1 energy, gain 5k for the turn. So it's like giving itself a bean, which is very good. So it's got really good use in offense and defense, and but you do need to be it requires 2 blue energy to play, so you've got to be invested in blue to play it. Then we got Energy Outburst Kale. So this is a good one for when you play in blue, because as you can see, it requires 1 blue energy to at least play. So you need at least 1 blue energy to play. But it's got a really good skill in the fact that when it attacks, you can activate its skill, you can activate the auto, and at the end of your opponent's at the start of your opponent's next main phase, you can use up 1 of your blue energy, switch to active mode. So this doesn't specify mono blue, just blue. So if you have a dual color energy, it's like blue yellow, blue red, or blue green. When you swing with this, you then get the untapping energy. It's like your mount's main turn. So if you feel like you need some energy open, you can feel free to tap out with this on the field, swing with it, trigger the auto, and then when your opponent starts the main phase, you go, okay, untapping energy. And the last one we have is Kale the Enigmatic Beauty. Now this is an interesting one because it provides you more recycle for Universe 6 cards, in the fact that when you play it, you can use up to 3 blue or yellow Khalifa or Kaba cards in your drop area with energy cost of 2 or less, and put them back in your deck. So it means you can recycle all the Khalifas we'll go over in a bit that are yellow, and also some of the Kaba cards we'll go over in this video as well. Put them back in your deck, so if they're in the drop and you've got no way of getting them back, you've got them back in your deck ready to use. And this is great with the red Khalifa, where if you feel like you've run through quite a few targets, you can drop this first, put back the targets in the deck because it shuffles them in, and then in your next turn play the Khalifa, and then you've got more targets there for its effect. It's got another effect which I'm not really go over because you're not going to really unison. There's a card that you can unison over, but we'll go over it. It's not something that comes up often, but if it's used in a union, at the beginning of your opponent's next main, basically if you use it for a union skill, so if you place a Kefla on top of it and a Khalifa, you can untap an energy in your opponent's next main phase. It never really comes up, but is that option. And the one thing that makes this little archetype a good package for if you're drafting blue is Kale the Awakened Sister on top. So this Kale, there's this Khalifa has a similar one in yellow. It's a 20k 4 cost critical. It's almost standard for 4 costs, and it's got 2 great autos. The first one is during your turn, at the end of battle after you combo with this card, you can choose one blue Kale in your battle area and play it on top of that card. So that means for 1 energy, by just comboing this, where you've got 1 of the other 4 on the field, you can play this on top of it. So that means you could technically play the 1-drop Kale, grab it back from drop, swing your lead, combo this, and then play this on top of the Timid Sister, ready to then swing for the 20k crit. And not only that, but it has the ever auto of when you play this card, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, negate your skills for the duration of the turn, and return it to its hand. So this is a really good card to help with some of your opponent's battle cards. So if your opponent's got a battle card in rest mode that's an issue, that's like, say it's got your opponent's got Trio de Danger, Bergamo, or last turn they dropped the Ribrian avatar on you, or something in rest mode that has a skill that triggers when it gets removed. Great thing with this is you can swing with it, drop this, and then you'll play it, give yourself a 20k crit battle card to swing with as well, and then choose that card that's an issue in rest mode, bounce back the hands but with his skills negated. So say with Ribrian it won't trigger to play a 4-drop green card from their barrier. So with Bergamo, put it back in your opponent's hand, or even with things like the Hurudgarden chain, it would be the trigger that to get the next piece out because it'd be negated, and you get rid of that chain back to hand, so you have to hardcast it again. So that second auto is really beneficial and quite handy, and a good option for blue as well, especially with dealing with things like the Avatar Affection Ribrian, who prevents you from trying to go for game because of its effect. Now the next part we have, the third colour we have that Universe 6 goes into, is yellow with Khalifa. So as you can see, just like Kale, it's got its own little package that ties together really well if you're drafting yellow. So first off, we got is the Khalifa the Bold Sister. So similar to the Kale version, the Kale 1-drop. It can't be KO'd by skills, and it's got a nice auto of it's got a similar auto to Kale, but instead of grabbing something from the drop, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and grab a blue or yellow Universe 6 among them, and that's your hand. So this gets you. So if you do go for blue yellow, you've got a really good combination using both of them. But even just in yellow, if you're able to grab all the yellow Khalifa cards, you have this small little package in your deck. Gives you a bit more consistency and a strong play as well. Or even that, there's other cards that are blue and yellow for Universe 6 that we'll go over in a bit as well that you can also grab. So you've got quite a lot of options for it, and it's a nice little search here. And also similar to a similar version to Kale, there's the Khalifa, The Time Has Come. So similar to the 2-drop Kale, this one has a similar an auto as well. Of when you play it, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignore and barrier, and switch to rest mode. So if your opponent's got something in active mode that you want to get rid of, but you don't have effects to remove it, you can use this to switch to rest mode, so you can then try to attack over it. Like say if your opponent's got a 1-drop that you want to get rid of, tap it down, swing at it as much as you want, or as much as you can. Or even if they've got a battle card or if you've got a blocker, you can play this, tap it down so they can't block with it. And then similar to Kale, it's got an activate battle. Once per turn for 1 energy. This card gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn, and then you can choose up to 1 K or Kaba with energy cost of 2 or less in your hand, and play it with its skills negate for the turn. So this is really good. So similar to the Kale. For 1 energy, it gives itself its own beam, but it doesn't give itself any skills either, like the Kale gives itself crit. But it's a really good card in the fact that for 1 energy you can give yourself a beam, which is good offensively and defensively, and the added benefit of being able to also play a 2-cost Kale or Kaba from your hand for free as well. So for 1 energy you get a 5k boost and play something as well. And there's quite a few good options. As you see, there's the blue is not restricted to a color either. So you got the blue Khalifa, the blue Kales we went over just now, and as you remember in red, you got that 2-cost red Kale that when it swings you draw a card and gain 5k, which then on your turn, or if you're doing it. So if you do this defensively, you can bring that out, and on your turn swing with it because you'll have this Khalifa as a Universe 6 to trigger it. And there's things like there's a Kaba as well, skillless card that you can bring over this. So you can play a potentially 4 energy, make this 20k, and bring out a skillless 20k as well. So it's a really good card, useful also, and very strong activate battle. And the next one we have is the Troublemaker Khalifa. This is great to help self-awaken if you need it, because when you play this card, you can choose up to 1 card in your life out to your hand, and then if you do, choose up to 1 of your opponent's energy and switch to rest mode. So not only does it have self-awaken, but has potential to, has a effect to tap down your opponent's energy, so they have left options. So if they left some energy up for defense, you can, for 2 energy, take away 1 of their energy. If they they left 1 open for a negate, you can deny them that. Or if they left 2 open for a certain negate or a counterplay, you can play this to try to force it, or make it no longer an option. But also self-awakening. And another card we have that's useful is a Gleefless Invalidation. So this is a counter attack skill 15. So its counter attack skill is negate the attack, play this card, then choose it to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 3 or less, and switch to rest mode. So this is a really good one in the fact that it's a counter attack for 2 that only requires 1 yellow energy and plays it yourself a 15k body. That's really good for the upcoming Khalifa we're going to go over the Awakened Sister, and also has the option of, and it can actually potentially stop 2 attacks by negating the attack that you're using this counter skill on, and then also go on to tap down a free cost unless your opponent has. So it's a very good counter attack and very really worth the pick. And the last one we have is saying Khalifa Spunky Alert. This one is similar to the Beauty Kale in the fact that it's got 2 autos. The first one is when you play it's a cantrip. Play it down, draw a card, and then it's got another auto with like the Kale version, triggers when it's used for a unison, but instead of untapping energy, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignore one barrier, and switch to the rest. So if you use those two together, you can untap an energy and tap down something through barrier. But it's more useful just as a being a draw one. And then the thing to make this little core, this little package worth it is the Khalifa, the Awakened Sister. So similar to KO, it's got 20k forecast, but has double strike instead of crit. Similar to KO, during your turn, when you at the end of a battle, after you combo this card, you can play it on top of a yellow Khalifa in your battle area. And also, like KO's got another effect, and for this one is when you play it, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards or energy in rest and switch to the rest mode. So it's really good in to be able to tap either a blocker down or an energy down. And you don't have to play it by comboing, you still hard cast it if you wanted to, just like with the KO, and get the effect that way, which is still pretty strong. But that's the yellow package, little package that you can put in any yellow deck, or even helps with Universe 6. Next one we have the crossover cards. So these are basically so with each color, now we've just gone over red, blue, and yellow. They all have a skillless vanilla card for the representative color as well. So you've got Tamo, Magetta in red, Cabba in yellow, and Valis in blue. So if you also draft any of this in the cube, you can also draft it in combination with the skillless archetype as well. So you can make a potentially powerful Universe 6 skillless deck as well. No more to say over this because these are just skillless cards, and we've gone over the benefits of skillless in the skillless archetype video. Then we go over to multicolors. So the main thing that the Universe 6 goes over is into blue, yellow, and blue, red. With the blue yellow stuff, it's got some quite a few good cards. It's got one arrival in Goku and Hit Supreme Alliance, which is a really strong card, giving you for one energy. And all of these are easily hard cast rather than bringing them out for their effects. So like Goku and Hit, you can arrival in, or you can hard cast it. It's still worth the investment. And same with Celestial Union Kefla. You can either Union Patara if you want to, or even hard casting it is still decent. So with Kefla, it's a critical 4-drop 19k. You can Patara it for 1 blue and 1 yellow over a blue KO and yellow Khalifa. But as I said, it's still worth casting it because it's got an auto when you play it. It gains dual attack, so you've got a dual attack crit for 4 energy. And then only for that turn now. Then you can choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignore barrier, switch to rest mode, and it can't be switched to active mode during your opponent's next charge phase. So this is very good, and for 4 energy investment, you get a 19k dual attack crit, and then you also get to choose something in your own barrier, tap it down, and keep it tapped down for your opponent's next turn. So that's very, very powerful. And then Hit in Cold Blood is a really good finisher as well for blue yellow, because it's a 7 cost 30k with triple strike, but it does have a permanent to reduce that cost, which is you can reduce the energy cost of it by 1 for each of your battle cards that are blue and yellow or yellow in play. So that means it doesn't ignore the specified cost. It can then take it down from a 7 cost to a 4 cost if you've got 3 blue and or yellow cards. And it's got a very good auto in when you play this card, flip your opponent's leader to the front, and if you do, your opponent can't activate their leader card's Awaken or Wish skills until the end of the turn. So it's a very good card in when it comes down, you flip your opponent back over to their front side. And so that means in the turn, and until the end of the next turn, they can't flip it back over. So if your opponent's awakened, you turn it from a 15k lead to a 10k lead, so they've got less power, and then they don't have as many beneficial effects they might have, like with the Green Son Goku leader, which has the built-in negate by milling 7, by bursting 7 to negate attack. It doesn't have that, and other leaders that I can't really think of right now that could potentially already say the reboot hit that has the effect to potentially kill a blocker, critical, or double striker by discarding a card. You no longer have that and you throw it back over. So it's a really good way to finish. If you draft it, you can drop it off, and it's very easy to drop off for 4 NG because a lot of blue and yellow cantrips you can put down the turn before you play it to make it a 4-drop. And as I said, we have a Goku and Hit. His rival for 1 blue is a blocker, 19k, but with a nice activate battle. You can, once per turn, if your leader is blue or yellow, switch it to active mode. So it means you can either get 2 90k blocks or 2 90k swings, depending if you want to be defensive or offensive. And then lastly, we have Champion Vados, which is one of the different kind of check lines, the second generation of check lands, which you can ignore if you charge it. You can ignore its energy exhaust by warping 1 red and 1 blue card in your drop area when you charge it. But if you don't charge it and want to play it, it's got an activate main for 1 red and 1 blue. You can return it to its owner's hand, so you can get it back to your hand. So you can charge it the next turn, and then you can choose it to 1 extra card from your deck with energy cost of 3 or more, and that's your hand and shuffle your deck. So this is not color specific on what extra card you grab. So you can grab any color extra card. There's more extra cards that are high costing in the blue-red because it's got the Invoker support. But also you can get things like March of the Great Apes and things like that. So if you go tricolor with yellow, because I know there's apes in blue and blue as well, you can potentially play this, then use the effect, grab March of the Great Apes to your hand, so and you have this back to charge next turn, to have another blue-red energy without becoming intact. So these are all pretty strong and also good support. And lastly, we have is the support cards for the Universe 6 Archetype. So as you notice, is the left hand side they're all Universe 6 cards, whereas the right hand side they're not Universe 6 cards. So we'll start off with the right hand side. So we've got the Vegeta Saiyan Tag Team. Now this is a Universe 7 card, but it's activate battle effect. Benefits for both Universe 7 and Universe 6, so that's why it's covered in both both archetypes. So it's got a very strong effect for a battle for 1 energy. You can use it to 1 of your Universe 7 or 1 of your 6 battle cards that is being attacked. So if you block with 1 or your opponent's attacking into 1, and basically you give that card a 6k boost for until the end of your next turn, and play this card and you can't play any other copies for the turn, but it doesn't matter because my cube is Highlander, so 1 copy per. So this is a very good card, and for 1 energy you can give a 6k boost for essentially 2 turns, well, until your next turn, I think it is. So let me check, I can kind of read it. Yeah, I think until your next turn, or until your next turn, you get. So you can, for 1 energy, you can give a Universe 6 or Universe 7 card 6k boost until the end of your next turn, and play yourself a 20k. So 6k boost of stuffing and a 20k beat stick and a 20k battle card for 1 energy is very strong. And then we have the green trio. Green Veggie Trio that also support this archetype, because you have Saiyan Team with Kaba, which is a very strong card. If anybody remembers from back when we had veggies, green yellow veggies, it reduces the cost of all Khalifa and KL cards by 1 while it's on the field, and also there's green specified cost. So while there's only 1 green Khalifa and 1 green KL, you can then reduce them by their green specified cost. And it's got a strong alter. When it's played, when you play it, you can look at the top 10 cards of your deck, choose a KO or choose 1 KO or Khalifa among them, and it's your hand. And if you chose a Khalifa, you can play it instead. So this works really good in tandem with the red Khalifa we went over. And the fact that you can play this, find the red. If you see the red Khalifa, play the red Khalifa. Then the red Khalifa will then trigger its effect to look at the top 7 after you shuffle to play a 15k or less Universe 6 battle card from them. So essentially for this 1 card you can get 3 cards out, and then you got Unstoppable Ambition Super Saiyan Khalifa. It's got 2 permanents. First one is battle cards can't be KO'd by your own skill, so you can't KO in your battle cards, and battle cards can't be placed in your drop area by your own skills. So it means you can't KO your while it's on the field. You can't KO your own battle cards, and any of your skills that say send something to the drop area won't work. And it's a really good strong card. And if it's a 2 cost 20k, that also has the auto of when you play it, you choose one card from your hand, from your life, and that's your hand. So there's a good soft awakening and a 20k power, 20k beat stick for 2 energy, which is really good. And lastly, we have Hidden Awakened KO. This is a 20k crit 4 cost. It's got 2 very strong autos. The first one is when you play it, you can sack off a battle card. You can KO one of your own battle cards. Then you choose any number of your opponent's battle cards, add up to an energy cost of 5 or less. You can choose any of your opponent's battle cards that add up to 5 energies worth, and KO them. And when it swings, if you've got 5 or less cards in your hand, draw 1. So it's a very good way. It's a nice way to draw back cards, but also applying critical pressure, and you can get rid of quite a few by sacking off something like a cantrip, 1 cost that you've already played from last turn. You can sack off 1 cost of energy from your side, sack off 5 energy cost of your opponent's side. So it's really strong, a very good way to use it in this. And with the if you've got the cab on the field, it can be played for free, for free energy instead of 4. So there's the good support. They're the good cards that are support the Universe 6 type that aren't Universe 6 themselves. And on the left side we have the support cards that help out with Universe 6. So from the top we have the 3 yellow cards. We have Cabo, which is basically just cantrip. Nothing more to say about that. We have Champ of the Trickster, which is the multicolor support counterplay as well for yellow. So there's a counterplay. So as a counterplay, it just plays itself. Has a benefit to make it cheaper though, in that if you have a dual color card, it doesn't matter what multicolor card it is, what color combination it is. Just if you have got any multicolor in your energy, introduced by 1, so it becomes a 2 cost instead. And it's also it's got an auto when it's played, you can use one of your opponent's battle cards, ignore a barrier such as the rest mode, and then you draw 1 if it's played if it's your opponent's turn. So you can either hard cast it. So at most is a 3 cost, but most of the time when it's going to be picked and played, it's going to be a 2 cost. And you can either play it in your turn, hard cast it, or you can just counter play it. You can play it in your turn to tap down anything through barrier, or you can play it in your opponent's turn as a counter play to do the same thing but also draw a card. So it's very strong. And then we have Patama, which is the super combo. It's a yellow super combo for Universe 6, a standard. If you have 4 life, draw a card. And these are all very good options that can be searched off the. These are all cards that we can search off the 1-drop Caulifla, the yellow Caulifla, and also the Cabba can be played out by the Caulifla as well, but you normally want to hardcast it for 1. Next we have the other 3. We have the Patamo, which is this is essentially a 5k boost across the board for your Universe 6. So when you combo with this card, you choose all your Universe 6 cards in your battle area and you get 5k power for the turn. So if you've got energy open, you've got a board for the Universe 6, you can swing with something, combo this, and give your whole board of Universe 6 cards a 5k boost. So it's very strong. If you draft the Archtype, it's always worth it, no matter what color you're playing of Universe 6. If you're drafting the Universe 6 Archtype, it's worth grabbing this because it doesn't require any certain color that'll be used, because it just is a combo card. You just need any energy, the combo. Then we got Hit Deadly Vanguard. It's a very strong counterplay. During your opponent's turn, it's got 2 autos. One of them basically says it can't be bounced back to your hand, but you can't return it. It can't be returned to your hand by your skills. And the other permanent says if it's your opponent's turn, it's reduced by 2 cost, per 2 energy, so it's a 3 cost in your opponent's turn. Now it's counterplay as now with its counterplay skill, if the card your opponent's playing are 5 costs or less, you can return them to their own hand instead, and play itself. And it's got also when it is played, you can choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 5 or less and bounce back to your hands. You can potentially prevent something 5 costs or less being played, and then bounce something back that's 5 costs or less, which is very good. And for free energy on your opponent's turn, be handy. It's quite good if you've got the energy open. And then lastly we have Energetic Frenzy Kefla. So this is a very strong card for blue. It can be used with anything blue, or with the Universe 6 Archtype. It's got 2 permanents. One that's basically unique, just before we got the unique keyword, and another one that allows that basically says that for each blue battle card you have in play, this card's reduced by 1, but not the specified cost. So it can be either played for 7, or at the least it can be paid for free energy, for free blue energy. But if you do manage to get it out, it's worth it because of its activate main. Once per turn, you draw 2 cards. Then at the start of your opponent's next turn, next main phase, you choose up to 2 of your energy and switch into rest mode, active mode. So blue energy, sorry. So at best you can tap 3 blue energy to play itself, and then use the effect, draw 2 new cards, so it's you +1, and at the end of your opponent, at the start of your opponent's main phase, you get untap 2 blue energy. And it's not mono blue, so if you've got any multicolours you can choose those. And once you've played it, the longer it stays around, the more you're gaining a lot of advantage. Even once you've played it, you gain a +1. And the longer it is, you add +2 to that, however many turns it survives. And on a 25k base, is very, very strong. But that's the Universe 6 support. That's the Universe 6 Archtype. As you can see, if you're drafting red, blue, or yellow, it's a very good options. You can just use the little packages in those color combination, in those colors, and if you if you go any of those if you play any of those color combinations, so red, yellow, red, blue, or blue, yellow, they're very good choices for them if you find them, and especially the blue and yellow packages. They're very good if you're drafting that color to look for. And you cross over to quite a few different multis with quite a lot of good support as well. But thank you for watching. Next one we're going to go over for the series is the Universe 7 Archtype. If you like this video and you like the series, give the video a like. If you want to keep updated, give me a subscribe if you want to. It keeps you updated with all the videos put out, and you can see more of the and it keeps you updated with when I put more videos about this series or anything else. And lastly, drop a comment down below if there's anything anything that you feel I didn't cover, or anything that you're unsure of or I forgot about, or if there's anything you want me to cover, comment down below and I can see it, and then potentially either cover it by replying to the comment or do a video over whatever's been mentioned. But thank you for watching. It's been quite a long video, but like most of these have, and I'll see you in the next video. So bye bye for now.